Before we begin with the story, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It helps us know what kind of content you guys like the most and what we need to improve on. Now let's begin. My morbid fascination with the unknown began long ago when I was a young man, hearing about a terrible incident in which many people vanished without a trace. Naturally, I felt immense sympathy for the lost souls and their families, but something in me yearned to understand the mystery better. The years went by, and my interest only grew with the rise of strange disappearances and unsolved mysteries. Eventually, I found my calling. I decided I wanted to quietly investigate the supernatural by embedding myself within these eerie occurrences. Or, as any normal person would say, I put myself in harm's way to uncover the truth. It started small, with haunted houses and supposedly cursed locations. These were a good starting point because the collective fear was somewhat grounded in reality. Not that I was ever the superstitious type, but I could see the appeal, even if to someone like myself the ideas posited remained completely ridiculous. Through the years, hopping from haunted house to haunted house, I learned a great deal about why people believed in these ghost stories. Now, you might have already guessed the answer, but seeing it and being able to walk into a room filled with dread made it so much more real. Fear. Naturally, I was forced to partake in their rituals, to sit in dark rooms, to chant ancient incantations. I had to become one with the atmosphere, or else I'd be dismissed as a skeptic. With the comparatively gentle nature of the earlier investigations, this wasn't much of an issue, but the constant sense of unseen eyes watching began to take its toll on me as the intensity rose. From haunted houses, I moved on to cursed forests and abandoned asylums before ending up here. One beyond simple description. After a run-of-the-mill pre-investigation research period, I found myself stumbling through thick brush and leaves to reach an old decrepit mansion deep within the woods at the edge of town. Usually, I had to travel pretty extensively to find new mysteries, but this one was based close enough that it'd be far more convenient than the other options I had lined up. The thought of having my own bed to go back to every once in a while, rather than living in ghostly places, indefinitely sounded nice too. Eventually, I came across the mansion, a towering structure with broken windows and ivy crawling up its sides. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, and the wind whispered secrets through the trees. I pushed open the creaky front door and stepped inside. The interior was just as I had imagined, dusty, cobwebbed, and filled with an unsettling stillness. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, illuminating old portraits whose eyes seemed to follow me as I moved. I had researched the mansion's history extensively. It had once belonged to a wealthy family that mysteriously disappeared one night, never to be seen again. As I walked deeper into the mansion, I felt a chill run down my spine. The air grew colder, and I could hear faint whispers that seemed to come from the walls themselves. I made my way to the grand staircase and climbed to the second floor, where the family's bedrooms were located. One door at the end of the hall caught my eye. It was slightly ajar, and a faint light flickered inside. I approached cautiously, pushing the door open with a creak. Inside, I found a small, dimly lit room, with a single candle burning on a dusty table. The walls were covered in strange symbols, and in the center of the room stood an old mirror. As I stared at my reflection, I felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The whispers grew louder, forming words that I couldn't understand. My reflection began to distort, and I could see shapes moving behind me. I turned around, but there was nothing there. When I looked back at the mirror, my reflection was gone. In its place was the image of a family, the family that had disappeared from the mansion. Their faces were twisted in terror, and their eyes seemed to plead with me. I backed away from the mirror, my heart pounding in my chest. The whispers turned into screams, and the room began to spin. I stumbled out of the room, down the stairs, and out of the mansion. I barely made it back to my car, my mind racing with what I had seen. I knew I had to leave, to get far away from that place, but something kept pulling me back. I could feel the presence of the family, their spirits trapped in that cursed mansion, crying out for help. As I write this, I can still hear their voices. They haunt my dreams, their faces etched into my memory. I know I have taken things too far this time. I wanted to understand the supernatural, but I have become part of the very thing I sought to uncover. If you ever find this, please, heed my warning. Stay away from that mansion, from the darkness that lurks within. The unknown is not meant to be understood, and some mysteries are better left unsolved. I used to think I was rational, that I could face anything with logic and reason. But now, as I sit here, waiting for the inevitable. I know the truth. There are some things that defy explanation, horrors that lurk just beyond the edge of our understanding. And sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are the ones we cannot see, the ones that haunt our dreams and whisper in the night.